In October 2022, a photo of some kind of object or creature in British Columbia's Okanagan Lake was going viral on social media. The photo was taken by a Canadian couple, Colleen and Dale, who were boating on the lake with their friend Myrna that day. According to them, the Okanagan Lake object was the color of rust, had 2 horns or ears, and was perfectly still in the water despite the current. They described the object as very large, being several feet in length and width, and the horns alone being several feet apart. The witnesses also recalled how the object's texture looked more like skin than wood. The photo was taken from about 12 feet away. As their boat was moving past it, one of the witnesses claimed they saw what appeared to be its body or neck or the rest of it under the darkness of the water. Okanagan Lake has an average depth of 250 feet, with some of the deepest parts being over 700 feet down. It's logical to think, yeah, something could be living down there. Local news covered it as a sighting of the Ogopogo, a sea serpent cryptid rumored to live in the lake. It's pretty well known in the local culture, which affected how the news covered it, and I think that's what made it go viral. I mean, look at this article here, whose first 2 lines are, "Dale wasn't searching for a mythological beast when he set sail on Okanagan Lake this weekend. Now, days later, he's toying with the idea he may have found one." Like usual, the internet came up with a ton of theories. A few of them were: 1. It was a boat figurehead of a dragon. 2. It was a dead animal or other debris. 3. It was a living animal at a weird angle, like a waterfowl or a moose. And 4. It was a weirdly shaped Bryozoan colony. The argument for the object being a wooden boat figurehead was that the lake was used for boat races. A lot of Reddit users cited the Kelowna Dragon Boat Club, which hosted annual boat races in the lake. I checked out their website to see what their boats looked like. A few of their boats used this dragon figurehead. Take a look at this photo that has the figurehead next to a person for scale. It's pretty small. We don't have a person for scale with the object in the lake, but remember, the couple who took the photo said it was very large, with there being a few feet between the horns. To me, that's way too big to be the same design we're seeing on the boats. Here's another angle, they're just not that big. So we can rule that out, right? Well, that's what I thought until I found this photo. They didn't always use the same design, and whether they changed it up by year or maybe by team, I don't know. Their website and Facebook page don't have a lot of photos. And their YouTube channel doesn't always show the figureheads of the boats. Sometimes their boats didn't have figureheads at all. But in 2016 and 2017, and according to this video, as recently as 2024, they were actively using the first design. According to others who looked into the boat club never acknowledged the Okanagan Lake object photo, or claimed that any of their figureheads were lost. So there's a chance that the lake object could still be a boat figurehead, just not one we've seen. Another possibility is that it might not be from a boat from the Dragon Boat Club at all. There have been bigger vessels on the lake, and it could have fallen off any of them. Or the vessel might still be attached and just under the surface. The witness did mention that they saw the rest of it under the water. One Reddit user claimed that they could see a long neck under the water, and even though, to me, that part does look darker, I can't say for sure. It might just be the angle or the lighting, because the sources I looked at said that they saw this in the middle of the lake, so it would have been over the deep part. It's like back in my video on Cameron Robbins, where people were drawing lines in the water and saying something was there. Also think about the fact that it might have been in the water for a really long time, and being in the water for that long might have warped or eroded the material to look totally different. And that might explain why the witnesses thought it didn't look like wood. Remember, they said it looked like skin. With the first theory, I'd say it had to have been from a much larger boat than what we saw the boat club using, because a design of that size would just tip their boats over. For the theory about the object being a dead animal or debris, people were saying it looked like the head of a wolf. I definitely see it. Actually, when I first saw this photo, it didn't look like anything other than a wolf head. British Columbia is home to the seawolf, which is a type of gray wolf that lives semi-aquatically. They can swim for miles and hunt in the ocean and lakes. A seawolf could be hunting in the middle of the lake. In the documentary about the incident, Cursed Waters, Creature of Lake Okanagan, they say that October was when the last of the salmon came through the lake.
My bet is it eats fish. And if you realize October, guess what's happening in October? It's the last of the salmon run coming through here.
Seawolves eat salmon. I'm skeptical about the ears though. The Okanagan Lake object's ears just don't look like wolf ears, or ears at all. They look more like horns, which was how the witnesses described them. But we could argue that the object was the remains of a wolf, so the ears being weirdly shaped could just be natural decomposition. You can also see what look like holes in the object, so maybe that's like the muscle tissue or bone layer. I looked up a few animal decomposition time-lapse videos, wouldn't recommend by the way, and I saw that the ears were usually among the last to go, so based on what I saw, it makes sense that a decomposing wolf's ears would still be on its head pretty late into the process. The third theory was that the object was actually a still living animal, just at a weird angle. User Mythic Insanity made a post pointing out how it could be a waterfowl on its back with its head upright. Their post labeled each part of the supposed waterfowl, with the horns actually being flippers and outlining an eye and a bill beneath the surface. I can see it, but waterfowl aren't that big, so it wouldn't fit the witness description of it being very large. Another argument against this was that the supposed feet don't really look like duck feet or goose feet. They look more like mushrooms, if anything. It could be a deformity or just the angle of the photo, of course, but if we really want to reach, you guys know that disease that makes rabbits grow horns? Shope papillomavirus? There's a variant of papillomavirus that affects ducks. It makes tumors and horns grow on their feet. So maybe that's what's happening here. I don't know. It's hard to say. This whole thing is hard to say because the witnesses only gave us one photo instead of a video or multiple angles. User Okay, Sure, Yep touched on this in their argument that it was simply a moose underwater, with the surface distorting the way it looked. I'm certain there's a reason why there's only one still photograph and not a full video. First time I saw these photos, my immediate thought was a moose. They are, after all, prolific in Western Canada. They are also commonly known to be semi-aquatic and very capable swimmers, and it's common for them to spend extended periods of time underwater. So my money is on a moose that is heavily distorted by the water surface and they completely lied about or exaggerated its proportions and its apparent behavior. Perhaps a not entirely ill-intentioned hoax, but a hoax nonetheless. My only comment on this is that they might not have been exaggerating. Moose are huge. The final popular theory was that it was a large Bryozoan colony, which are these freaky-looking things you see in lakes and ponds. From looking at photos of Bryozoan colonies, they tend to be round and blob-like, while the lake object has some sharper features, so I don't think this theory is the one. These guys also don't seem to have the weight to be still in the water, like the witnesses described the object as being. I find it a little strange that they decided to only take one photo, or at least release only one photo, despite having multiple chances to as they sailed around. I can't speak for everyone, but if I were in this situation, if I was in a boat on a lake and something totally unrecognizable and a little bit creepy just poked its head out of the water, or I guess it wasn't fully out of the water, but it was noticeable in the water and I couldn't tell what it was, I'd be taking a dozen photos and videos. Just like okay, sure, yup, many people were saying this was just a hoax. The single photo plus the prevalence of the Ogopogo in the local culture supported this. I personally think it's a decomposing seawolf. To me, it's definitely a wolf's head, and it's almost too obviously so to mistake it for anything else. And the discrepancies in the features, like the ears, are because of decay. Grey wolves can grow to be 6 feet long and weigh over 100 pounds, explaining the size and why it wasn't easily moved by the water. And it was at the surface because decomposing bodies tend to float due to gas and swelling. To this day, though, people are still throwing out theories because we never found out for sure what it was, and we might never. And hey, I do believe cryptids are out there. It's awesome and actually kind of terrifying to think that there are these undiscovered creatures living in these super deep lakes, like the Ogopogo or the Loch Ness Monster. I just wish there was better video evidence of them, not just single, sometimes grainy photos. But if you want to see some suspicious video evidence of aliens invading Miami in 2024, check out my video on the Bayside Mall incident. Thank you for watching.